Okay, Nigel Brennan joins us now live from Brisbane. Nigel Brennan, thanks very much for talking to us. Can I ask you...
No problems, Nick.
Can I ask you, what's your advice today to the family of Warren Rodwell? And in particular, would you be advising them to be seeking the services of a private hostage negotiator rather than relying on the Australian Department of Foreign Affairs?
Look, I guess to Warren's family, I would say, firstly, ask the Australian government what they can actually do for them and what their constraints are in regards to this situation, and put everything together. And if they require, I guess, a private contractor to take over the case, then obviously ask for the government's assistance in doing that.
Okay, obviously this is a very tense situation for the family of Warren Rodwell at present. You've been quite scathing in the past about the way the Australian government handled your hostage situation. Just talk me through what you see as the problems have been in the past with the government's handling of these sort of situations.
Well, look, I guess in regards to my family, they weren't at the start really given all the information they should have been in the handling of the case, and what the government was capable of doing. Unfortunately, the Australian government doesn't really have the expertise in negotiating with kidnap and ransom like private companies like the one that my family ended up employing did. You know, they had 18 years experience dealing with ransom situations.
Well, as you're saying, it's a problem here that when these situations crop up, it could fall onto the desk of some public servant who may have had no prior experience, essentially, in handling these tense situations.
Yeah, look, certainly. I think before my case, really, the last major case was David Wilson's, which was 14 years ago. So the experience that was gained 14 years ago and then obviously lost over time with people changing jobs in departments and stuff like that makes it difficult for the next case, I guess, in regards to Warren's case, to happen so soon after I was released. The government hopefully will take some of the some, or if not all, the suggestions that were made in the Senate inquiry and put them to practice.
Okay, we've seen Warren Rodwell on video today saying that his abductors want $2 million, a large sum of money to try and raise. Now, you've criticised the Australian government's policy of not paying hostage takers ransoms like this.
Look, I've never actually, just to clarify my position here, I've always said that I never expected the Australian government to pay, and they shouldn't pay because Australians are prolific travellers, and it sets a precedent. You pay for one, you have to then pay for all. My criticism of the government was really the fact that they weren't open and honest with what they could actually do for my family from the start, and then after 11 months turning around to them and explaining that they actually couldn't help my family and they would have to look at other means of trying to get me, you know, gain my freedom. So the fact that my family basically wasted the first 11 months, which prolonged my time in captivity and possibly increased the ransom amount.
Okay, well, in terms of paying ransoms, as you've indicated, you didn't expect the Australian taxpayer to foot the bill for a ransom on your behalf. But is one of the difficulties here the fact that the Australian government can prevent families from transferring large sums of money overseas in order to pay ransoms like this?
Yeah, look, they can block it, and that was one of the things that we asked for in the Senate inquiry, that I guess either the Prime Minister or the Foreign Affairs Minister have a veto to be able to actually help with transmitting money. Obviously, in regards to the new laws that came into effect after September 11 and giving large amounts of money to possible terrorist organisations has massive implications for people who are handing that money over. It's one of those things that people have said to me, that my family has set a precedent by paying for me, but I guess you've got to put yourself in that family situation, and if it was one of your loved ones, I think the majority of people would do exactly the same thing.
How confident are you that the Australian government has learnt the lessons of your experience and the experience of other people, other Australians taken hostage, which helped lead to that Senate inquiry, which came up with a range of recommendations?
Look, I would dearly like to hope that the government's learned a lot from I guess, my ordeal, and saying that there were some fantastic people within government departments that were superb with my family. and were emotionally attached to my family. I just hope that with Warren's case, they learn from the mistakes that they made, really, in my case, and put some better options into play with Warren's family.
Watching that video of Warren Rodwell, Nigel Brennan, can you imagine what he was going through as it was being made?
Yeah, look, certainly. I've obviously been in a similar situation with having to make my own ransom video, and you know, it was pretty distressing to listen to the audio this morning. And he sounds, you know, incredibly stressed and distraught. So I'm guessing, you know, he's living in fear and having quite fatalistic thoughts at the moment. That's sort of part and parcel of the first few months of being in a hostage situation.